Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. I'm Megan.
And I'm Sierra. For this week's video, Megan and I thought it'd be fun to do a sit-down book-related video. We haven't done one in quite a while. I feel like we've done like more book vloggy stuff, which is always fun. But it's also fun every once in a while to sit down and like pull out some books and
we got a pile
give you some recs
over there.
So this video is going to be oddly specific book recommendations that you guys sent in. We're going to try our best to give you what you want. So the first specific book recommendation was someone wanting romance books with yearning, and so we have 3 recommendations for you guys. One of them is Phantasma. That's one that we've both read. It is a Romantasy type book where it's almost like carnival type themed, like takes place in New Orleans. There's
this thing comes into town. It's called Phantasma, and it's basically like a contest where if you win Phantasma, you win money. I'm pretty sure. No, you win like a wish from like the devil himself or something.
Yeah.
But you get the main character is brought into this Phantasma game because her younger sister joined, and she's like, well, now I need to go save
my
her
sister.
And then there is a male main character who is like within the game. You don't know a lot about him at first, but then he is like part of the game, and he has like
he like travels with the Phantasma game like as it goes around the country, and he like his memory's kind of shot a little bit, but he's like really into her, and like from the get-go is like, you can tell.
Like my Goodreads specifically, I was like pulling out quotes from this book. It has like the "you came, you called" type of dealio, and just like I've been waiting my whole life, like looking for you. It has those kinds of vibes. I love this book. This was a 5-star book for me.
I liked it. It was 4 stars for me.
Then the other 2 that I thought of for this one are Say You Swear and The Infinity Between Us. Say You Swear was like, I loved parts of that book, and then I didn't love other parts of the book. It's really long. It's young adult. The main characters are all in high school, and I think the female main character is like in some sort of accident. And to be honest, I don't remember much from this book, but I just remember the main male character is like one of my favorite book boyfriends, or at least like when I was reading, that was my impression of him, because he is like so down bad for the female main character. So I would recommend that one. And then The Infinity Between Us, I feel like it's not talked about at all, and it's like a book that I read on Kindle Unlimited that has stuck with me as just like a really, really good romance book. But the premise of that book is you have like second chance romance, childhood best friends. She grew up going to like a lake house in the summer, and then they're getting ready to like sell it, so she's going up to try and tie loose ends, and then this guy comes back and they're living together in the lake house, and he's trying to convince her why she should keep the lake house. Great book. So I'd recommend that one as well.
The next category was someone wanting recommendations for light and fun reads for their honeymoon to the Bahamas, and we've got a lot of good stuff for you. So I feel like we have these categorized mostly by authors who write the same types of books. Sarah Adams is a great, like, light,
and she's
easy
got lots of books.
Romance author.
A lot of them are on Kindle Unlimited.
So this is all one universe. Starts with one Rome, and then Practice Makes Perfect.
I would say this is probably like some of her best
Steel.
work. But she has like a lot of other cute interconnected series that are all just like very light, simple.
Like there's stakes for a romance book, but it's like the lowest of low stakes, and like
they're all very enjoyable,
easily resolved.
And the characters are like, you're rooting for them.
Premise of these ones is like more small town romance. It takes place in Rome, Kentucky for all of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So good picks here. Then we have Tessa Bailey. I've only read these 2 books from her, and honestly I'm not really intrigued to read others because I've heard mixed reviews. But It Happened One Summer and Hook, Line, and Sinker were like chef's kiss.
Yeah, they were
reads
really
for
good.
me. A little bit more spice with these ones, I think, compared to the Sarah Adams ones. But still, so much fun. It follows these 2 sisters who go to this like crab fishing town. I don't remember if it's in like,
they're both kind of like in high society.
Washington.
They're from a wealthy family, and so they kind of get like placed into this town that like they don't really belong. Then we have The Summer of Broken Rules. This is one of my favorite young adult books ever. It's a super cute read, very fun, quick. And the premise of the book is that it's like they're on Martha's Vineyard, I think, maybe,
yeah, for like
a family get together.
It's the first one
wedding
after the main character's sister has just passed away.
And so the female main character also has a guy that she meets from the groom's side of the wedding party, and they kind of hit it off right away. And I feel like there's just something fun about reading young love and just people like falling for each other for the first time That's also why I don't have the physical book of it, but there's a book called The Upside of Falling that I also have in this category too. And that's also just like, first of all, it's on Kindle Unlimited. It's extremely short, and it's just like you're reading to high schoolers falling in love and reading about that for the first time. I just think there's something I would say nostalgic about it, but like I personally have never experienced young love, so I like reading about it.
And then last rec for our author for this one is Lila Sage and the entire Rebel Blue Ranch series. These are interconnected standalones, so it all takes place in the same universe, but you could technically read them in whatever order you wanted. We've got Done and
Small
Dusted,
Town, Cowboy Romance, These Are the Vibes,
Swift and Saddled, Lost and Lassoed, Wild and Wrangled. All 4-star reads for me. Like, you know, it's just really super quick, easy, like you just know what you're getting into. Like, for one reason or another, they think they can't be together, but then like they obviously get together. Romance ensues, and it's a fun time.
Next, we're going to be recommending some Romantasy series that have been completed that are not ACOTAR or Third of Class, because those are obviously the most commonly recommended.
Okay, first one I'm recommending is Powerless. This series was just recently completed. There are 3 books and then 1 novella. I have read all that. I think you're still...
I've got one more to go.
Or Fearless to go. And I mean, I just love the series. Powerless is definitely my favorite. Like, when I read this, I was just like sucked in, but I love the entire series. It's very like, takes place in a world where everyone has powers, and then those who don't have powers are sent out or killed, and the main character doesn't have any powers, and so she's trying to survive in the world. Meanwhile, she is it trials or something? There's some sort of like trial or something in the first book where she's like brought in and has to like compete against some of the royals and some other people also in the world, and yeah.
Another completed series that is a super good one. This is a young adult series, but it's the Prison Healer series. And the premise of this book is that there is this prison called Zalandov that the main character is stuck in. And I can't remember why people get sent to the prison unless
it's just like if they're arrested for treason or other crimes.
But
her
the main character
was arrested, and then she was brought in with him.
The main character, Kiva, is a healer, and so she's working in the prison's healer infirmary thing, and she's responsible for healing people, treating them, and then other people usually have like different jobs that they're assigned. And so these people get brought in, one of which is the rebel queen, because there's like a rebel cause going on outside of the camp, the people that are trying to like uprise and overthrow the government. So the rebel queen comes in, and she's very, very sick, and they're trying to keep her alive. Kiva specifically is trying to keep her alive, and they decide that the rebel queen, since she's obviously part of the rebel cause, needs to go through, I can't remember what it's called.
Trials.
Some other trials. Oh, it's called the trials.
Everything is a trial in a fantasy
And
book.
so, obviously, she's in no state to do that. This woman is very sick. She will die. And so Kiva decides she's going to step in. She'll do the trials for her. And if you win and survive the trials, which like no one ever has before, then you get to leave the prison. So you're going through this whole book as she's got multiple different trials that she's trying to go through. And then there's also other characters.
Another prisoner is brought in that she may or may not be like falling in love with. So, and crazy twist at the end that like leads you into the rest of the series.
All these books had really good like last minute plot twists just to kind of say like, oh, I did not see that coming.
Next one is a duology. It is the Shepherd King duology. It starts with One Dark Window, and then it goes on to Two Twisted Crowns. This was actually a book club pick of ours, and I'd heard like mixed reviews, I feel like, about this book, but I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I think a lot of fantasy series can really blend together, like we talked about. Like, every book is a trial.
My next one's gonna blend together too.
Like lots of trials, lots of like,
and I know I liked them all.
Nobody's falling in love with princes. Like it does start to get repetitive, and I eat it up every time. But like this one is so easy for me to like keep separate in my brain because of the different premise. So basically, in this world, it's almost like gothic vibes. There are these magical cards. There's 12 of them total. There are certain cards that are more. Like I think there's 12 of like the most card, and there's like one of like the most rare card. And each of the cards have different powers, so like gives the holder of the card different powers. And that's kind of how their society functions. Elspeth, our main character, has what she calls the nightmare living inside of her, where like she had a weird interaction with one of the cards, where like then like some
of this series, I feel like you kind of have to be like, okay, like I'll act like I understand what that means.
Like entered her brain, and so like since she was a little girl, so like now she's a young woman, like she's had this like second person like in her head almost. And so you're like learning about how that's affecting her life while they're like trying to go on this journey of finding all the rest of the cards, because there's this like plague almost going through the city or town or whatever it is. and they need to find all the cards in order to like save people that are dealing with the plague. So, highly recommend. This just continues on to like some of the same plot. I will say it's kind of fun. You get Elspeth and her love interest in this book, Raven, and then in the second book you get more of them, but there's also a second couple that you get to see more of, which was fun.
Okay, next we have the Sacred Stones trilogy. These are the 3 books, and it starts with A Promise of Peridot. And
the first one.
You're right. You're so right.
I haven't even read the series.
The premise of this book and kind of the series as a whole, I mean, generally speaking, it's like you've got like the current government and then you've got like the rebel cause. Like, to be honest, Arwen is the main female character. Her brother ends up coming back from like the front lines and is basically like in hiding, or like they're looking for him because he's like running off and he's not supposed to. And when they come to look for her or look for their family, she's in the house and she's the one that gets caught and brought to the king. And so she's now living with the Onyx King and the Onyx Kingdom and just kind of like the other people that he associates himself with. And she's slowly kind of brought into their circle and not completely shunned, and she's starting to realize that maybe everything she's been told about this supposed horrible people in charge, maybe they're actually not that bad. And so she's trying to deal with that truth while also knowing that she's trying to get back to her family and like they're part of the opposite side. So I thoroughly enjoyed all of these books.
I have yet to read
off
them,
of each other.
but they're on my list. And then the last one we don't have physical copies of, but it's available on Kindle Unlimited, is the Crimson Moth duology. So the first one is Heartless Hunter, and the second one is The Rebel Witch, which just came out this year. This one follows a witch and a witch hunter, and the witch is like trying to help other witches in the city escape because they don't like witches in their city. They will kill them or ban them if they are found.
Says, why are we doing that?
And
She's
so
also a witch.
The witch hunter obviously is, finding all the witches, trying to kill them, banish them, whatever. And then they know each other in real life. He obviously doesn't know that she's a witch. She knows he's a witch hunter. And they they enter into this fake relationship, kind of thinking like the other one.
They basically know
want
they're both
information the
using
person
each
has.
other. But then they're also kind of like, are we
actually
actually falling in love?
So I have to read the second one still. I'm looking forward to it, but Megan
And
said
I really
it was even
liked
better
it.
than first.
I did think it. I did think it was better than the first.
Then someone wanted some dark academia recommendations. I will admit this is not a series that I have dove into too much, so we only have a few recs. First one, The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. This one takes place in England, I think.
I think so.
And follows this main character whose niece is at some sort of like boarding school or college or wherever, I don't know. And these young girls keep dying, and so then the aunt says, well, I'm gonna come down to campus and like check it out. I think the aunt is a psychotherapist, so she's like thinking that she might be like helpful to like talk to some of the students like going through this trauma. And then there's also like this sketchy professor who like the niece is talking about, like she thinks he might be involved. There's this like weird club that he is like in charge of. The club is called like the Maidens, and so the author is just trying to like unravel if she thinks the professor is involved. Why is this going on? Pretty crazy twist at the end, I would say. Like I didn't see it coming. I don't think a lot of people would see it coming, so I would recommend that.
Nocticadia is one that I read on my Kindle, and the premise of that book is the main character's mom passed away from some sort of sickness, disease that no one really understands, and she writes a little paper about this fictional disease, and then it gets sent in to like a professor at this like well-esteemed university, and they happen to be secretly studying that same disease, and so they're kind of like, how does this girl know about this disease? No one really knows about it. So then they invite her to come study at the university, as well as like study to learn, or they want her to come study at the university, and then she's like, I'm gonna weasel my way into like whoever's lab I need to like learn more about this. So there is like an age gap romance, and so just FYI, if you're doing that, there's like professor-student relationship. This one took a little bit for me to get into, and it's a long one, so just fair warning about that one, but overall I thought it was a pretty good book.
And then the last one I have was In My Dream to Hold a Knife. This is a thriller that has kind of past and present timelines, follows a college friend group, and in the past one of their friends is murdered, and then in the present we have like a friend from the friend group that I think was either like arrested but then acquitted. Like they think they know who killed this best friend in their group, but like he was never actually
He shows up at the reunion.
Tried or convicted of anything. And then all the friends get together at the reunion. They're like shunning this one guy, but then like talking to the other groups of friends, trying to like kind of figure out like what happened in the past. I thought the back and forth timeline was really good. I didn't see the twist coming. It's 6 friends, 1 college reunion, 1 unsolved murder. I rated it 5 stars. I thought it was a really great thriller. Next, someone wanted recommendations for books similar to Project Hail Mary, which, like, I totally feel you. Like, these are good
I wish
recs,
I had more.
but I'm still chasing this high. These are recs that I think are good for different reasons. First one, The Martian. Obviously, it's written by the same author. If you are looking for a book with, like, a similar scientific outer space vibe and, like, a lovable main character, this is your book. If you are into Project Hail Mary for the likable main character and more of, like, the journey that the book takes you on, then I would recommend 11/22/63 by Stephen King.
Pay no mind to how
It is a
thick
thick
that
one.
book is.
But I felt like they gave me similar vibes in the sense that, like, what I loved about Project Hail Mary was, like, the main character was so much fun to just, like, be in his head and hang out with him for the duration of the time that he was in outer space. And you get the same experience in this book when you're following the main character, Jake Epping? Yes. And he has to go back in time, spend years in the past to try to prevent the assassination of JFK. And you're just spending, like, that much time with him as the reader. And I just love the main character, and I love all the time I spend with him. Okay, next recommendation. This was actually Maggie that asked. She wanted a recommendation for a book to fill a void now that Love Island is over. And actually, now I'm thinking about it, she probably has read this, but
Yeah.
we probably have a lot of Love Island watchers. If you have not read Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren, I feel like that's similar vibe because it takes place on an island. Obviously, it's a romance book, and so that's kind of filling some of the Love Island vibes there. It follows our main character who, when she was in college, she got married to, like, a friend of a friend because she needed housing, and his rule was that he, like, had to have a wife to live in this housing.
Like, they both
Weird
had,
rule.
like, a mutual agreement of, like, why they would benefit from marrying one another, but, like, they have just, like, been married on paper and then, like, gone about living their separate lives.
And then I believe she thought they were divorced. They ended up never actually getting divorced. And then years later, his family still thinks they're married, and he's like, I actually need you to come to my
You're
family
plus
wedding.
one.
So, like, they need to see, like, I'm actually married because they've never met you. And so she agrees. She follows him to the island where they're getting married. And then obviously romance ensues because now they're actually getting some one-on-one time together. Someone else wanted some recommendations for authors similar to Colleen Hoover. I feel like Colleen Hoover, despite some of her controversies, like, she is, you know, a good gateway into reading just as a hobby. That's how Megan and I got into reading quite a bit. And so, like, you know, we get it. We can't blame you. Her books are quite addictive. I think Rebecca Yarros is, like, a really similar, like, writing style to Colleen Hoover. I've read Variation by her, and I think you've read quite a few more.
I've read The Last
contemporary
Letter.
romances
I've
by
read
her.
The Unfinished, or The Things We Leave Unfinished, I believe.
And then obviously her very popular Fourth Wing book is, and, like, that whole series is a whole thing. If you're looking to expand to, like, other romance authors, but maybe, like, different tiers of, like, what I would maybe see as a little bit better romance, Emily Henry is always and will always be that girl. Christina Lauren, they have great books out there. Who else?
Ashley Poston doesn't have as many books, but she's got The 7-Year Slip, which is a great one. We've also got a novel love story from her.
I mean, Abby Jimenez.
Duh.
Duh.
Her books are right back there. I should have seen them.
Carly
She's also
Fortune.
great. Next one is Mystery Books That Made Us Gasp. And I have to say, like, it is always going to be The Silent Patient for me.
And, like, this
personally.
might have to do with, like, the naivety of, like, when we just first started reading. It was one of our first books, getting back into it, so, like, I could see this being a plot twist that you would recognize if you've been a reader for a while.
I feel like at the time, and also just, like,
It was the vibe
there's
at the time.
some books where I'm reading just to kind of, like, read, and, like, when I was reading this, I knew there was, like, things not answered, but I wasn't actively trying to really figure out, like, what did that mean? Where do I think this book is going? So, like, this is just the only book that I can recall that's, like, a mystery thriller where I was reading it, and as I was reading, like, I was like, this is the plot twist in the book. Like, my mouth is actually dropped open. Like, I remember we were on vacation in Florida. Sierra and I were sharing a room at our Airbnb, and I'm, like, reading this over the side of the bed, and I'm just like, oh my god. So that's how imprinted it is on my memory.
Next book is one that I have just read. It's Riley Sager, The Only One Left. And I remember reading this, and I think it was like 100 pages left or so, where, like, I was like, oh my god, jaw drops, jaw drops, jaw drops. Like, it felt like just plot twist, like, every other page. And I was like, we're really buckling in now, and, like, we're getting to it. So that was a fun one to read. Someone wanted recommendations for nonfiction books that are still interesting. The only nonfiction book that I read that was, like, truly just as entertaining as reading a fiction book was Trevor Noah's memoir, Born a Crime. Like, I read it on vacation when we were in the U.S. Virgin Islands, And like he is just, obviously he's a comedian, so like the whole story is funny, but just like his life itself is so interesting, of him growing up in South Africa, and then just like the way he's able to like turn heavy topics and heavy situations into like comedic life lesson. Like it was just a crazy entertaining ride from start to finish, and I would highly recommend it.
Next, people wanted some recommendations on some college romance. The only one that I could think of off the top of my head was The Deal, and it's the first one in the off-campus series. I think Elle Kennedy, like if this is what you're interested in, like she's your girl, because she's got multiple series that are like college age main characters. So I do plan on continuing the off-campus series, but I have not continued on yet. She's also got Briarcliff U as a series.
Okay, next recommendation. Someone wanted a romance with artsy background plot and characters must be out of high school. That bodes well for us because I think most of our books are all adult romances.
I think the ones in this category, like not that these are like, you know, the best books ever, but it's just like books you can put in this category, like they are good books.
Yes. So we have 3, but only have 2 in person. First one is Before We Were Strangers by, what is her name? Renee Carlino. This has a past and present timeline. It follows 2 people who technically they met in college. That's still adult, actually, so they're fine. And then they date in college, they start as friends, and then they break up, and then they meet again as adults. And I feel like they're both just like very artsy vibe people. Like I think whether they went to NYU or just like, yeah, they went to NYU, so like fartsy, tartsy like type of people. The guy is a photographer. The girl I think might have been a musician. I don't totally remember.
And they connect from that.
But like they reconnect as adults and then, you know, get back together. Maybe, who knows. The 7-Year Slip, one of my all-time favorite romances. Also, funny enough, a past and present timeline, kind of.
Yeah.
So it follows the main character, Clementine. She ends up taking over her dead aunt's apartment after she's passed away. And her aunt has always said, like, the apartment is magical. And she's like, yeah, I love the apartment too. Like, but it's not magical. But when she moves in, every once in a while when she walks into the apartment, it is 7 years in the past. And at that time, 7 years in the past, her aunt had leased her apartment out to, like, a friend's kid, which is a guy that is, like, you know, an age-appropriate male. So,
oh my god, I need to trademark that. Need to trademark that.
And they hit it off, like, she's confused about, like, why he's here, but, like, you know, they talk through stuff. And then she obviously realizes, like, this is, like, some weird, like, timeline glitch in the Matrix type of thing. And so they fall in love in the past, but then, like, her real life is in the present, and she doesn't know who this guy is, doesn't know where he's at. And so
she can't control, like, she doesn't know when this apartment goes back the 7 years or not. Just sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't.
The guy is a chef. I don't remember what the female main character does, but, like, I just feel like the vibes that you
are there.
Were this. The other recommendation was an Emily Henry pick, Great Big Beautiful Life. We don't have the in-person book, but essentially follows 2 authors.
In-person book. Physical copy.
We don't have a physical copy. It follows 2 writers who are both, like, vying for the chance to write this, like, heiress lady's life story, essentially. And so, 2 artsy-fartsy people. That's what you get, and then they fall in love.
Next, we've got some book recs for transitioning you guys from summer reads into the fall. First, we've got The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy. This is a very, very, like, low-stakes romantasy type of book, but it's not, like, high-stakes romantasy. This is just more of, like, a magical world, magical kingdom. The main character, her name is
Mercy. Mercy's a girl.
The main character, Mercy, is an undertaker. She works at her family's undertaking business, and so basically think of that as like a mortician in simple terms. And then Hart is the main male character, and he is responsible for going out. He's kind of like a soldier type of person in this society.
You have to, like, go out and, like, past the city or society limits.
Make sure they're safe, and, like, if people are dead, they bring them back into the Undertaker. And most of these are kind of like demon-esque monster type things that they're trying to, like, kill, or other people who are out and they get killed by these things. Yeah. They bring them back in. And so they are obviously, like, communicating quite a bit just with, you know, the business that they're in. And for whatever reason,
they don't like each other.
Mercy just doesn't like him, and Hart's like, fine, I don't like you either. But then they start communicating, unbeknownst to them, via these magical letters that are, like, kind of making it so that they're communicating, but they don't know to who. But they're like, dang, I kind of like this person.
And then each other.
Yeah.
And they maybe or maybe don't get together.
On a similar note, this is The Love of My Afterlife, and it's going to be a similar reason that this is a good summer into fall read is because this is like the same light-hearted type of romance that I feel like everyone likes to read in the summertime, but you've got a like paranormal magical component with the fact that the main character Delphi ends up dying and then going into this afterlife kind of like limbo situation where all of a sudden she meets this amazing guy and she's like, oh my god, I love this man. When she meets this man in limbo, there's like a mistake that's made where this guy is like not actually supposed to be there, and so he gets taken back, and then Delphi creates some sort of deal where she can possibly go find this mystery man if she's able to complete whatever deal she makes.
Someone wanted recommendations for men, and so these are my best picks.
Obviously,
those books that I read.
Men can read whatever they want. I honestly think men should read romance as well.
Men can and should, but if I was gonna if a guy I knew came to me, these are the books I have read that I would recommend, and I do. Recursion by Blake Crouch, and then also we have Dark Matter by Blake Crouch right here. These are both like kind of sci-fi type books, following like twists in time with some interesting subplots of like some
this
romance.
One's slightly better.
Yeah, this one, hot take, because this one gets a lot of acclaim. This one has an Apple TV show that we haven't finished, but this one that I'm holding upside down is better. Red Rising, another like sci-fi fantasy dystopian type book. I feel like a lot of people have heard about this one. It's like Hunger Games-esque high society with like different tiers and hierarchies of who is good and who is bad.
Mentioned already.
If we won't shut up about this book enough, Project Hail Mary, read it. It's required.
Trailer's out now. Don't watch the trailer if you haven't read the book yet and you want to.
11/22/63, already mentioned. Another Stephen King book, Billy Summers. This one follows, it's more of a crime fiction book. It follows a like hired hitman basically on his last crime that he's going to do, and then he's like gonna run away and go into hiding. But he knows that when he like goes into hiding, like the people that pay him aren't just gonna like let him go. They're gonna be like, we need you for more work. And so it follows him. Slow pot of romance. I just think Stephen King is a really great storyteller, so it's just fun to follow along the character as he is preparing to do the crime. He does the hit and then he goes into hiding. And then one that I don't have the physical copy of, but I read on my Kindle, The Well of the Money. It's actually pretty similar to Red Rising, but I think it's better.
Hot take.
Someone wanted interesting books with cute covers. They wanted to double as room decor basically. These are, in my opinion, far and away our most beautiful book covers. We have Tomorrow, Tomorrow, Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin, and then we have The Ministry of Time. I read both of them. I feel like these books are both polarizing, and like I think they probably range on like the low 4s to high 3s for their Goodreads ratings. I like both of them. I give them both 4 stars. I'm not even someone who loves literary fiction. I would say this is kind of like part historical, part literary, part magical realism type fiction, and then this is just like straight up literary fiction. This one follows 2 characters who like know each other's kids. They grow up. They are both into video games and like basically start a video game startup. And so it follows them and the different games that they create and their successes and downfalls. Ministry of Time is following, I think it takes place in England or something, and it basically has like they invent this portal system that can transport people who have died in the past and they bring them to the future. I don't remember why they do that. They're just trying to establish if time travel is feasible, and so they want to bring people from the past that like died, so it doesn't like mess up the time-space continuum. And each person that it brings from the past to the future gets paired with a modern-day person to be their like keeper, essentially. And so the girl gets her guy, and they like kind of like hit it off and fall in love. And there's like a lot of other crazy stuff that goes on. And look at how pretty. That's going to be all of the oddly specific book recommendations that we're going to cover for today. Hopefully you guys got a ton of recs. I mean, there's no way you guys read all these books, so you definitely can write some of these down. You can also check out our Goodreads to see what books Megan and I are reading. We have an online book club if you want to be a part of it. It's through our podcast, but you don't even have to listen to the podcast if you don't want to. You can just check out the link. Do we have it linked?
It might be linked in the description. If not, you can check out our podcast description. Our podcast is called According To. We also have an Instagram for it, and I know it's linked in that Instagram bio. So,
but basically, it's like $2.99 a month to join the Fable, and then you get access to all of the like book club commentary with other people in the book club from us as well, and then a monthly book club video podcast recap. So, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for letting us babble about books for a little bit.
And we will talk to you guys in our next video.
Bye.